Greetings, school fiends, and welcome back to the Horror Ghouls podcast. I'm T,
I'm Megan.
and tonight we're jumping headfirst into a world where spooky creatures rule, but with a twist of holiday cheer. Get ready to explore the wonderfully whimsical, magical world of the Nightmare Before Christmas from 1993 and Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King.
He
Had to
looks
bring
he
him
looks
out.
he looks really good, I'm saying.
Yes, yes. Wonderful, wonderful man. Let me put him over here so I can just stare at his face. Uh,
Was he ever a man, do we think? Before we get into it, I'm gonna ask the hard-hitting questions. Was he only ever just a skeleton?
I assume that at one point he had to be a man. Because I mean, skeletons aren't just skeletons.
That's true. But then I'm just thinking about the other characters because there's werewolves and the mayor that
Vampires and
has
stuff,
two faces.
right? It would be interesting. I would love to
Wasn't
get a
that
backstory. Oh,
was
but you
that
know
a
what?
no?
Someone said, I believe I did see this somewhere because there's people online who always connect all these movies, and someone
Sure.
said that Jack is the husband from The Corpse Bride. I don't think that made
Wow.
I now I've never seen that movie,
I
so
actually
I
haven't
don't know.
either.
Yeah,
Do we
I
have to
haven't seen
watch
it.
that for this? I th- I think we haven't watched it. Okay, maybe. Maybe
No.
next October,
Perhaps, perhaps.
right?
Yeah, because
That's
it's a
Halloweeny.
popular one. It's a popular one.
Mhm.
So we'll see. We'll
We're gonna
see.
see. We're gonna see what happens. Let us know
Yes,
if you want us
yes.
to do it.
Put some thumbs up in the in either Spotify or YouTube, wherever you're listening or watching.
Wherever you can put a thumbs up.
Yep, or rate us 5 stars, whatever. Doesn't matter. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, do that too, please. Thank you.
So most people assume that this movie was directed by Tim Burton. However, Tim Burton was actually working on Batman Returns at this time. So this movie was directed by Henry Selick. And it is based on the story that Tim Burton wrote in like the 80s, like a poem that he wrote.
You just blew
So
my whole mind. I was like,
really,
what? Yeah,
yeah.
I did not know that or
I
read that.
didn't either, but he was like the producer behind it and everything like that,
Okay.
but he did not direct it because he was too busy.
Okay, no, that makes sense. And it is very Tim Burton-esque, so that's why I was like, it wasn't, but he was still involved.
Oh yeah,
So,
he was still heavily involved. He just
okay,
didn't have time to actually direct.
so that makes
And
sense.
like I said, it is based off of his own poem that he wrote. So,
I love that.
um, yeah. I didn't bother to look for the poem because I was like, oh, we see the movie. It's based off this, so it's fine. I'm sure this is better. But this stop motion classic takes us on an enchanting adventure where Halloween and Christmas collide in unexpected ways. So we'll follow Jack's journey as he attempts to infuse a little Christmas with a little bit of Halloween and encounters a few bumps along the way. And it's a story about discovering something new, embracing the unknown, and perhaps finding a little joy in the process.
Precious.
So, right? So if you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to like hit the like button, not like it, but just love it. Hit the like button and
Love it in
subscribe.
your heart and
Yes,
externally. Do
right?
both. Do both.
And subscribe for more fun content or tune in to your favorite podcast platform for a delightfully eccentric ride through Halloween Town. We're available on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, or wherever you prefer. And while you may not be navigating the holidays in a coffin sleigh with skeletal reindeer, you're still in for a creepily festive adventure tonight.
Woohoo. I'm
Yes,
excited.
right? So before we get started, because this movie is relatively short. It's not short, but it is short. It's an hour and 19 minutes. But that means that this review, because it's a musical,
We're gonna
it,
sing every song to you at length,
yes,
repeatedly, more than once.
in the style of burlesque with with feather fans and everything.
I did
Um,
not come prepared for that, but we can work something out, I'm sure. Go ahead.
right. But I have a few other things that I'll add in just so that we have a little bit more substance to our podcast here. So Christmas, if you didn't know, has evolved from a blend of ancient winter solstice celebrations, Christian religious observances, and medieval traditions. So its origins can be traced back to pre-Christian festivals like Saturnalia, I can never say it right, and Yule, which celebrate the return of the sun and the joy of the season. And by the fourth century, December 25th was chosen to commemorate the birth of Jesus Christ, which we know he was not born on that day. If you think he was born on that day, you're silly. Um,
You are wrong.
yes,
That's what she meant to say, but I'll say it for
yes,
her. It's
yes.
okay.
As a former Catholic, that's not, and they taught us that too, but that's not it.
It's
Um,
not.
so that aligns with the existing celebration. So remember, the pagan festival stuff came first. Um, and over time, medieval customs such as feasting, nativity plays, and gift giving influenced the holiday, while the figure of Saint Nicholas eventually transformed into the modern day Santa Claus. And then in the 19th and 20th centuries, Christmas became commercialized with traditions like decorating Christmas trees and exchanging gifts and becoming central to the holiday. So today, Christmas does blend religions, cultural, and secular elements, celebrating both the birth of Jesus and the joy of family, goodwill, and festive cheer. So just a little
Exciting.
history lesson on Christmas.
I just want to tell you something you just reminded me of, that I saw on Instagram today, and it was saying, it says like guy one, guy two, guy three, right? So guy one, this is a popular Christmas song. You'll probably recognize the lyrics. Guy one says there'll be parties for hosting. Guy two says marshmallows for toasting and caroling out in the snow. Guy three, in parentheses, says has no idea what Christmas is. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of
Yeah,
Christmases long, long ago. And it's just something that it seemed to kind of fit in with your description just then. So I just thought it was a funny thing to share because I was like,
that
yeah,
is
this
funny,
guy's coming in like, oh yeah, yeah, totally. And there's ghost stories and
right?
stuff.
I have no idea
So
what that is, but cool. Let's just talk about it.
that sounds fun to me. I wish there were more scary ghost stories for Christmas personally.
Hey, I
So,
will take it. I will
right?
take it.
We'll
I
start our own
mean,
traditions. Yeah.
right? So actually, that's funny. It kind of leads me into my question I have for you.
Oh.
So now we know that this movie is a blend of Christmas and Halloween. If you could create a horror movie that blends holidays, which two would you mix?
Oh boy. I, I immediately was thinking, because going back to Irish roots and back to paganism, and then I'm like, oh no, that's just Leprechaun. We already have that. We already have that movie. So no, so, so no, it's not going to be that. I don't know. Maybe I think if I was going to say Easter, it would turn out like a Winnie the Pooh, and like I can't do that. So I think it would have to be maybe Valentine's Day, like a really gory,
So Valentine's Day and
gross.
Halloween.
Yeah, Valentine's Day and Halloween, I think would have to be for me.
There is a Valentine's Day movie. I do believe I've seen it.
I know I don't care about it. I want a new
Yeah.
one. I want a new, different, better one. That would be my answer. But what about that's a good question. What about you? What do you think?
See, the problem is that I like love my wheel of the year. So in my head, I'm like, ooh, Maybon and stuff like that. Uh,
Sure.
but I'm not going to do that.
4th of July.
I don't count that.
No.
I honestly would probably do East.
Thanksgiving. Sorry.
No, you know what?
We kind of just did that last
Yeah, we
time. So
did.
that's why I was thinking of it. Yes.
But honestly, probably Easter and Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We could throw those two together because I feel like Easter, like if you had like a traditional type upbringing, I would say people had big Easter dinners and people have big not Christmas, but big Thanksgiving dinners. I feel like those are two times where we were like really getting dressed up, especially Easter.
Sure.
So I feel like if we blend that with Thanksgiving and then make the Easter bunny a killer, and then there'd be like a
Yeah.
giant like turkey running around, actually fist fighting him, like on Family
Yeah.
Guy when Peter fights the chicken.
I immediately, that definitely was giving me like a Godzilla Kong
Yes.
thing. So like a monster, like more like a monster movie, which I like. For me, it's funny because like when you were like, you have to pick two. And for me, I immediately, I'm like, Halloween and whatever, because that's the only one I can ever think of. So I'm sorry I didn't
What's
specify
funny
that,
is
but
I was
it's,
like, I automatically thought you were picking St. Patrick's Day. I automatically thought
I
it.
really, that would be the first one. But like I said, Leprechaun. And I'm just like, it's already been done. And also, there's a lot scarier pagan shit than leprechauns. So
Yeah, that's true.
I'd have to see the scripts. We'll work on
Have to
we'll
read the
work on
script
that.
first.
Someone has to send me a script on that. We'll see what happens. But
Right.
yeah, that could be interesting.
Well,
But I like your monster movie idea.
yeah. Yeah, it's cool. If any of you guys listening or watching wants to put their two down, somewhere in the description, not the description box. I'm all over the place today. If you want to put it down there in the comment section, you absolutely can. We
Yeah.
would love to read it.
And if you have a fleshed out idea too, like you're like, this is the
Yeah,
kind of like what you just had. And if it's really weird, I'm even more interested in what it is. So please
for sure.
share. Please share. Yeah.
So, I'm going to have a little format for this podcast, so you'll be able to follow along. As soon as I start talking about, you'll get it. So, we're going to start with Act One, and this is Life in Halloween Town. So, we get the title of the movie right away, and Santa Claus is actually narrating this little beginning part where he's talking about, there's a place in town or whatever. He's giving a little narration. Doesn't matter because the best song of all time comes on right after that. Um, and so the movie is actually opening with the spooky and enchanting world of Halloween Town, and the residents are celebrating their annual Halloween festivities. And the song that is playing is This Is Halloween. And this is introducing the town and its creepy, fun vibe. They're showcasing their spooky traditions and prepare in their preparations for Halloween. And this introduces all the characters of the town, setting the tone for the film's Halloween themed world. And it celebrates the creativity and excitement of Halloween with a catchy, darkly whimsical anthem that highlights the town's love for all things creepy and strange. And everybody has to know this is Halloween. Like it's iconic at this
You
point.
cannot escape it. You can't.
No,
Even
no.
so like playing Halloween music for my nephew kind of if you're like, "Hey, like I can't say her name because she'll hear me. You know,
Oh yes.
the lady in the radio. I sound like I'm
Alexa.
100 years old. I'm like, the lady in the radio. That's fun. Um, it comes on a million times, and if you're playing it for kids, like, what's toddler Halloween music? And she's like, this is Halloween. It just comes right on. So you really can't escape it. You can't.
This is Halloween. This is Halloween. I'm not singing through this whole thing though, because I don't know all these songs by heart,
We
just so
already
y'all know.
discussed this.
Yes.
Every song, start to finish, go.
Yes. So, um, and this scene is really good because, like I said, all of the characters are coming out. You get to see basically all of the townspeople, and Jack comes out in this like straw scarecrow outfit with a giant pumpkin on his head because he is the Pumpkin King. He sets himself on fire. He blows fire out of his mouth, jumps
It's
into a
badass.
fountain. It is. He jumps into a fountain and comes out in his iconic black and white outfit with his shiny bald head, which is why I'm wearing stripes for him today. Even though this is a little Beetlejuice, but
Representing. No,
it's
it's
all I
still good.
had.
It's still good. Still
but
good.
um, but yeah, so he comes out and he's all great. And in the background, we see a ragdoll character named Sally watching him with admiration. But her handler, Dr. Finkelstein, tries to take her back
Ugh.
to the lab as he's like, "You're not ready for all this excitement." And he also accuses her of trying to poison him with deadly nightshade. So there's that. But as he grabs her arm, she pulls one of her threads, leaving her arm behind and running off. So there's that.
And she's full of
Um,
leaves as well, which is a
yeah.
fun little detail about her. Good old
Yeah.
Sally. Yeah.
This is the Sally was his prototype, okay. Um so after the celebration, Jack feels very unfulfilled and weary of the repetitive Halloween routine. He goes to the graveyard to call his dog Zero for a walk. If you don't know Zero, Zero is the floating ghost dog with a red nose. And unbeknownst to Jack, his stalker Sally is there, listening to him begin his song, which is called Jack's Lament. And this song is basically him expressing his frustration with the monotony of Halloween and his longing for something new. And despite his fame, Jack feels empty and yearns for a different purpose. And this song reflects Jack's existential crisis and sets the stage for his decision to take over Christmas, which is driven by his curiosity and desire for change. So if you haven't seen this movie now, you know that he's going to take over Christmas. But the Nightmare Before Christmas, it kind of
Yeah.
puts them together for you.
I think this is also one of the most like Tim Burton-esque like scenes because even that hill, because there's this
Yes.
iconic hill. It's
Spiral
on the
Hill.
Yes, it's on the cover, like if you've seen the movie art for this, but like how when he's walking down, it kind of like unfurls and
Yes.
everything's kind of very like sharp lines and kind of jagged. And it's like, it's so Tim Burton-y. And also, um, I feel like we really like Danny Elfman with the score in this movie, but he also is Jack's singing voice.
Yep.
Um,
That's my next fun fact, funny
and
enough.
he does, sorry
No,
to
you're
take that
fine.
off
No,
from
no,
under
no,
you.
you're good.
No,
You're
but
good.
he's so talented. And also, fun fact for you guys, if you're fans of like 80s music, he was in the band Oingo Boingo, which is like the weirdest band
Hmm.
name I know. Um, but to hear him kind of do these parts and more like kind of like voice acting versus just be like in a kind of like a rock band. It wasn't really a rock band, but you get what I'm saying. But he did a great job. So great job, Danny Elfman. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
leading into that, Danny Elfman is the singing voice, but the speaking voice is Chris Sarandon.
Mm-hmm.
And this is because for whatever reason, Danny Elfman's talking voice is not like good enough. It's very wooden. They said it was very stiff, even though he sings with such like flexibility.
Yeah.
And like even like he does like these yells and stuff, and he also does the voice, I believe of Lockett or something, one of the bad kids. He does their voice too.
Yeah.
But like
I
it's
th
just weird that he couldn't do the actual voice, so they got someone who sounded as much like his singing voice as possible, which is how Chris
yeah.
got the part.
It's definitely interesting if you think about like the amount like you're talking about the flexibility and the emotion he conveys while he sings.
Right.
Um, but I think if memory serves that I've seen in an interview or two of his that he has a very deep voice, which
Really.
is not really what you would think.
I mean, it makes some sense because, singers, a lot of times they may sing in different ranges. If we take Prince, for example, his
Oh,
range is very, very large. He sings high, high,
yeah,
and he could sing low, low.
he
And his
sure
speaking
can.
voice was pretty low, you
Yeah.
know?
And
So,
quiet,
yeah, it
which is funny
was.
because he liked to, I don't know if we ever talked about this before, everyone, but I'm
No, we haven't.
super intense, not super intense, that sounds crazy. Super big Prince fan. And he was like the king slash queen because he transcended all religion, gender, time, and space somehow. Um, that he loved to throw shade and he would do it kind of under his breath in an interview, like he'd be whispering, so you're like listening to everything, and he was just like the sassiest. But yeah, enormous range. Um, and quite an artist and played almost like every musical instrument
Yeah,
that
yeah,
there is. So yeah,
yeah.
little fun Prince interjection there. Um,
But perhaps Danny's voice had range similar to that, not as wide, I don't think, but
no.
if his speaking voice was low, maybe he was able to sing a little higher because if you hear like he does hit lower notes like when he says that he's the Pumpkin King, that
Oh yeah,
Pumpkin
yeah.
King, it gets very low. So perhaps
Yeah. That's interesting though. Very interesting.
yeah. So going on, Jack's song that he's been singing resonates with Stalker Sally, as she feels just as dead inside as he does. And she picks up some deadly nightshade and returns to the doctor's laboratory because she realizes that she needs her arm. And as he's fixing her arm, she tells him, like, look, I'm restless. I can't do this. And he's like, girl, bye. It's a phase. You'll be fine. And
Yeah,
he dismisses her. Um,
he sure
so,
does. One
right.
of the things I loved about that scene, and I hope this isn't your next point, but it was just
No.
something that they actually said that cracked me up. The
I think you
doctor,
know what you're talking about too, because it was a part that I was going to put in and I didn't, but go ahead.
first of all, he creeps me out incredibly. The way he looks, his voice, it's perfect, but I hate it. Um, but he's like, Sally, that's the second time you've slipped me deadly nightshade, and she's like, 3 times,
Right?
because she's like owning it. She's like, no, it's three.
She's so sweet, but it was so funny, like you said, how she says that. She's like, sorry, it's three.
It's three.
It's about to be four, sir.
She's
So
like, but no, it's just something that cracked me up. And I was actually writing at the moment, so I wasn't looking at the screen when she delivered it. And I was like, just typing away. But no, I like that line.
yeah, I was gonna put it in and I was like, leave it out because I laughed at it too. I'm like, oh my God, that's funny.
She
Uh,
owns it.
right. So the next day, the mayor shows up to Jack's to go over the plans for the next Halloween because they only have 365 days left. And the mayor is just an elected official that can't make any decisions on his own, which is literally what he says. But of course, Jack is not there because he's walked through the forest all night zero. Um, so at this point, we're at Act Two, Discovery of Christmas Town. So
Yes.
while Jack is exploring the woods, he stumbles across doors to other holiday worlds. One door has an egg for Easter, another has a turkey for Thanksgiving. There's a door with a shamrock for St. Patrick's Day, one with a heart for Valentine's Day, and one with a Christmas tree. He opens the door to Christmas Town and he's sucked in like gravy into one of those little squeezy things. Um, and he gets amazed by the snow, lights, and the joys of the town, which brings us to the song What's This? Um, as Jack excitedly explores Christmas Town, marveling at all its lights and sounds. And after discovering this town, he's like so into this strange, colorful new world. It's filled with wonder and curiosity, and he sings about the unfamiliar, like place. He's just like,
Yeah.
wow, what is this? And because it contrasts so much with his dark and spooky world, he's just like over the moon about it. So this song
Yeah.
captures his joyful amazement as he immerses himself in the magic of Christmas for the first time. And once he sees Santa, he hears him, an idea comes to mind. You can see his face go sinister. There's one thing about Jack Jack is a really nice guy, to be quite honest. He's very nice.
Yeah.
But we have to remember that one, he's from Halloween Town, so there's going to be something sinister about him. And two, he's a skeleton. Three, he does scare people on purpose.
Yeah.
And so he gets this really demon, devilish look on his face. Um, and you know that he's about to do something foul. So it is what it is.
Yeah. I just was taken, there was a few lyrics in the song that just made me laugh too because um I think it was when he just hopped into like a little kid's room and he's like, "Wow, no one's dead here." It's like there are just some lines in the song that are funny because it's so unlike his regular um world. Like he was looking under the
Yeah.
kids' beds. He's like, "There's no monsters under the
Right.
bed." Like
And
what?
and that's what was funny to me, like that part in particular, because he goes into the house and it's like three, they look like elves, but it's like three kids in the
Yeah,
bed.
yeah.
And he looks under the bed, like she says, and he's like, there's no monsters here. He walks around to the other side of the bed and he like cradles the kid's face, like so gently, like the babes are sleeping in their bed. And then he all of a sudden screams, "What's this?" And like
It
scares the
takes
shit out
off.
of the kid, right? And I'm just like, you asshole.
He's just so like almost like blinders to like everything around him that he's not like he's observing, but it's like he's
Right.
not. I don't know. He's still a little kind of like in his own bubble, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that for sure. So
Yeah.
while Jack is off discovering Christmas Town, people in Halloween Town are very worried about him being missing, and they sound the alarm that he's missing. And Stalker Sally, hearing that alarm, decides that that's her cue to make the poison for Dr. Finkelstein again, so she could go out. Um, so at this point, Jack does return to Halloween Town, though, and he's super eager to share his discovery. And he holds a town meeting to explain Christmas, but the residents are a little slow on the uptake with this one. And it brings us to the song Town Meeting Song. um,
The town meeting song.
right?
Wow.
So this is a brief comedic song in this movie where Jack discusses his discovery of Christmas Town. And this song it's like captures the confusion and excitement of the meeting while he's like, "Hey, this is Christmas." And they're like, "There's no like evil stuff going on. There's no creepy crawlies, there's no spiders, there's no dead head, there's no severed heads. Like what?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, it's just perfect. It's this." And he has a little Christmas tree up on stage. It probably looks like this. Um
So sparkly.
right?
Yeah.
So but yeah, they're all puzzled. They're puzzled and they can't grasp the idea of a holiday that's joyful and filled with light and not filled with creepy crawlies. And he calls himself saving the best part for last because he talks about Santa and he describes him as a fearsome king with a deep and mighty voice. And he tells people that his name is Sandy Claus, which is like the most devious part of this whole thing because the screen goes red. He's like Santa Claus. So, he clearly is like, yeah, Santa Claus is a beast. Um
He's slightly misguided.
he
Just
is. just a little bit.
Just very slightly. Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody's excited, but Jack still knows that they don't get it. He's like, oh, they don't get this. Um, but yeah, but back at home, Jack becomes obsessed with Christmas, reading every book he can find. He decorates his room with Christmas lights and decorations, while still trying to figure out how to bring Christmas to Halloween Town. And he settles on reading a book, The Scientific Method, because I guess he's going scientifically figure out how to get Christmas into Halloween or Halloween into Christmas.
Yeah.
Um, so when Sally returns to Dr. Finkelstein's lab, he locks her up for poisoning him again, because remember, she did poison him so she could get out the house. But just as he locks her up, Jack stops by and she's listening. She's like, "Oh, my boyfriend's here. I can't stalk him from here." But he stops by to borrow some equipment so he could do some experiments. And so he goes back home and he starts running what he calls experiments inspired by probably the scientific method book.
hmm
Meanwhile, Sally does remain locked up, but she's making some type of concoction in a bottle, and she lowers a basket from her window that's like 30 feet from the ground. And she could see Jack's like house from across the way, and in his window like this green flash goes off because he's doing these experiments. And for whatever reason, at that one point she gets really hyped and flings herself out of the window 30 feet down,
Yeah.
and her body like just kind of like combusts from from the pressure of like getting hit against the ground. And like there's a little like I'm calling it the mariachi band. They're not a mariachi band though, but it's a little
I feel like I
band,
noted that too. That's really funny. That's like they're right there, and it's like a very sad,
and
like
they're playing sad music.
yeah, like a sad minor key,
Yes.
like mariachi song, even though that's not
Yeah.
what that
But
is.
they're like playing a song like while she pulls a um like a needle from her like hair or head and starts re-sewing her body parts back together. Um and gets up and walks off.
Yeah.
And you know, that is what it is. But just as she does that and sneaks off, Dr. Finkelstein comes in and he's going to let her go, but he sees that she's gone. So, of course, that pisses him off again.
Yep.
So Sally does go and deliver this basket to Jack. She like sends it up to his window instead of like knocking or anything. She sends it up to him, and he accepts it. But when he returns to thank her, she's already gone because she's a stalker sitting outside his house.
He's like, thanks for this toilet wine, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what
Right,
this is.
right. So, so because like he opens one of the bottles and like a butterfly comes out, like a it's not an actual butterfly, but I'm trying. If you ever see how Harry Potter and they have those little animals that aren't real animals, but they're like wispy looking air
A
animals. This is what. Thank
Patronus.
you,
You're
Patronus. I couldn't think of
welcome.
the name of it.
It's like anything, like even in the old, like the Snow White movies or whatever, when they go to show
Yeah,
the apple, but it's like the poison just like in the air. It's just like a poof
yeah.
of a image. I don't know. I don't
So
know.
she was sending him some of her essence in this bottle. Okay. Um, but she's so upset. She sits outside his house and picks a weed. I'm sure she was getting ready to say, he loves me
Yep.
not. But for the moment, the weed blossoms into this festive Christmas flower and it's adorned with ornaments. However, it quickly bursts into flames, foreshadowing the chaos that Christmas will bring to Halloween Town. So at this point, we get another song called Jack's Obsession. And this song shows how Jack has increasingly become fixated on Christmas after discovering Christmas Town. He tries to understand and take control of the holiday, but he can't. And his growing frustration and confusion as he struggles to capture the essence of Christmas just leads him to feel torn between his Halloween roots and his desire to combine the two holidays. And it does convey his determination, but also his growing sense of isolation as he becomes consumed by his new goal. Hold on one second.
Oh,
Didn't want
I was
didn't
gonna
want
just burst into song to fill the I was like, oh, what song do I sing? This is my moment.
I want to do that big husky cough
That's
on
okay.
the
You
mic.
you were looking out and everyone appreciates it.
Yes, I didn't want to blow out your eardrums. So, like I said, it kind of shows his growing sense of isolation as he's becoming, really consumed by this goal. And by the end of the song, Jack has decided look, Christmas is mine. I'm taking it over and I can probably make it better. He gets very cocky at the
Mm,
end of that song. So,
a little bit, a little bit.
yeah. So we're now at Act Three. Halloween Town prepares for Christmas. And Jack is giving everyone in Halloween Town a job, including Lock, Shock, and Barrel, who are the little terrors of town. And he gives them the task of kidnapping Sandy Claus. Um, and he tells, right,
Sorry.
which is the
It
song coming up. Yes.
it's the one that always gets me. Side note, really quick. I
Hmm.
went to it was a Krampus market the other day, right? And there were three people walking around like Lock, Shock, and Barrel,
That's cute.
full costume. And every time I saw them, I was like almost singing that at them. Like, but I wasn't trying to be the obnoxious person, but it just was like, it like the Little Mermaid, it just wanted to like come out of my face. But yeah, it was cool because like full size, it wasn't like little kids, it was like full grown ass adults.
That's cool
So
though.
just a little fun fact for you. Go on.
Well, he tells them not to tell Oogie Boogie, who is the big bad of our movie. So the song that it's now playing is Kidnap the Sandy Claus by Lock, Shock, and Barrel. And they are gleefully plotting their mischievous mission to kidnap Santa Claus. And the song captures their chaotic, mischievous nature as they eagerly anticipate the success of their mission, all so they can take Santa to Oogie Boogie so they can impress him. Because that's their ultimate goal.
Do you know, this is my, I feel like you do know because you've seen this movie a million times. Do you know who voices the three of them singing?
I mean, I have it written down, so I have it written down. So yeah,
I love everyone who's singing in this. Do you want to say? Do you want me to say?
you can say
Are
it.
you saving it? So
You can say it. I'm not saving it.
we have like you mentioned before, Danny Elfman. I don't know who exactly he is. You might have that. I don't
He's
have that.
he's Beryl. He's Beryl,
Okay. Catherine O'Hara,
who's
who
Sally.
we love, who is also Sally, voices one of these characters, but Catherine O'Hara, if you don't remember her name, Beetlejuice, Schitt's
Schitt's
Creek,
Creek. Yep.
Best in Show, a million other things, and Paul Rubens,
Ah, yeah.
Pee Wee Herman does the other I forget who's left, but he does the other voice and they're amazing and epic and we love them. And also they have done a live performance of this song before. I don't know if
Really?
you ever saw it. They did like a
No.
symphonic, you know how they do those sometimes?
Yes,
They
yes.
had it, I think it's on YouTube somewhere, where they had them all come out and sing this together and they're still doing like the character voices. But
Kidnap
you
the
get to
Sandy
see
Claus.
them do it. It's so cool. Even though
uh,
Danny Elfman is not like the easiest on the eyes that I've
well,
ever seen.
neither is Pee Wee.
I'm gonna do like in he when he was in Buffy, when he was that vampire in Buffy, oh no.
I mean, yeah, I'll give you that. But
But yeah, no, as Pee Wee Herman, like anyway, yes, I
yeah,
love them in this part. They did awesome.
they did. They did indeed.
Hmm.
So at this point, the residents of Halloween Town are preparing their version of Christmas, crafting eerie gifts and decorations. And Sally comes up and she's like, Jack, I'm stalking you, but I want to tell you that this is going to fail. This is going to be a big flop. I had a premonition, you know? And he's like, oh, Sally, shut up and make my Santa Claus suit. Um,
That's pretty much exactly what
Yeah,
happens,
he
yes.
paid her no mind when she was trying to warn him. He just wants her to make his Sandy Claus outfit. And at this time, Lock, Shock, and Barrel return, but they return with the Easter Bunny, who is petrified of the
Oh,
people of Halloween Town. So Jack is like, take him back and bring me Santa Claus. And at this point, another song comes up. It's called Making Christmas. And this song is about the residents of Halloween Town coming together to prepare for Christmas. And it's an upbeat song and it showcases the town's dark twist on how on Christmas traditions. It's like as they're trying to create Christmas presents and decorations, we can see like they're putting a spooky spin on it. Like they're putting like dead rats and stuff in boxes and decapitated heads and spiders
Yeah.
and creep.
There was a guillotine. I definitely saw
Yeah,
guillotine at one point. Yeah.
yeah. So, it's very bizarre. And it's a slightly unsettling version of Christmas. And the song does highlight the contrast between their creepy world and the cheerful spirit of Christmas. And the days at this point tick down to Christmas, showing how diligently both towns are working to finalize their big day, because then they start putting like juxtaposed to each other. Like, here are the people of Halloween Town making very creepy gifts, but here are the elves in Christmas Town making like the regular gifts, the good gifts for kids.
Right.
So it's very interesting to see them both doing the same thing, but one of them being very, very off.
Very different. Also, I just want to add, I said guillotine. That's not a word, everyone.
Guillotine. That's all
It's
right.
guillotine. I know. I
Yeah.
just want, before people came to chop off my head, I know the word. Just wanted to clarify that. But yeah, it was very different. It was very interesting, even down to Jack's skeleton reindeer.
Yes. Which I love.
Very different.
So cute.
Yes.
Um, so we are now on Act 4. Christmas goes wrong. So as Santa is going over his list of who's been naughty and who's been nice, Lock, Shock, and Barrel knock on the door and they kidnap him. And they initially take him to Jack, where Jack steals his hat because Sandy, not Sandy, Sally, Stalker Sally, has brought him his outfit. And he's like, "Oh, it's perfect, but I'm missing something." And as soon as Santa shows up, he steals his hat. And he tells the kids
Rude.
like,
Yeah.
"Hey, take Santa someplace safe and comfortable." So they take him to Oogie Boogie, who tortures him for his own amusement.
That's the opposite of what Jack said. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so now we get the song Oogie Boogie Song, which is a jazzy, villainous number, as Oogie reveals his sinister plans. And he reveals like how he has a love for gambling and torturing his victims and causing chaos. And it's it's a song that showcases his dark, flamboyant personality as he threatens Jack and his friends and threatens Santa Claus, and it emphasizes his evil nature and his delight in his monstrous plans, adding a fun yet terrifying flair to the movie's antagonist. So,
Absolutely. Also, did
yeah.
you notice that he has like baby sandworms?
I noticed that he just had nasty stuff hanging off him. I didn't know exactly what it was, but he's
It
he's full of bugs anyway.
it
So,
wasn't something that was inside of him. It was
oh, you
something I
mean
noticed that was
around?
like crawling through something that was like on the ground. I was like, oh, that's like a baby sandworm, which makes sense for Beetlejuice and Tim
Yeah.
Burton and Catherine O'Hara. Like it's one of those kind of like little
I
Easter eggs.
notice, I think in the beginning of the movie when they have the one they're singing "This is Halloween" and they say "I am the one underneath your bed," or no, he said "I'm the one underneath the stairs," and he said he
Ugh.
has a head full of snakes, but all the snakes look like the little sandworms too. And so I
Yeah.
see them there. I don't pay any attention to the ones in Oogie Boogies, but that's interesting. So it makes sense
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Definitely
Oogie
makes
Boogie
sense.
is full of drugs, bugs, also drugs. Like they're using him to traffic drugs somehow.
Right?
No, but I was gonna add a little self-deprecation in there. My sister does has claimed that one of my ex-boyfriends she was reminded of Oogie Boogie when she thought about him. I'm not gonna say which one. I'm not gonna say, but I will share that. That was a funny,
That's
weird
funny.
thing. So now sometimes she'll just send me a picture of it and be like, "Oh,
Remember him?
is this this is your type?" I'm like, no,
Oh,
no. But no,
that's
it's funny.
funny.
She was like, yeah, he was full of bugs too, and I was like, oh, okay, well,
Well, that's why he's an ex.
Boogie
So
Boogie seems like a great time though. Honestly, he's having a party. He has like black lights and shit.
yeah,
You
he's a
know,
very, very interesting guy.
he is. Even
Yeah,
though he's full of bugs and not drugs, just to make that clear once more.
and maybe a little bit of drugs, but we never know. Yeah.
Just a little.
So back in town, Jack makes his grand appearance as the new Santa Claus or Sandy
Mm.
Claus, um, ready to fly into the night. But Sally, who's been dead set on stopping him at this point, creates a fog that is so dense that the skeletal reindeer would never be able to take off. And everyone's so disappointed for the moment until Zero shows up and they notice that he's like Rudolph. And he's like, "Oh, you can lead the way. Get to the front of the line, Zero, and lead these reindeer." So he gets in the front like a GPS and leads the way. And Jack takes off to deliver presents with Stalker Sally hoping that she's wrong about her premonition. And at this point, the worst song of the whole movie comes on, which is Sally's song, because I don't like Sally. And in this song, she expresses she's first of all, this is like the pick me low self-esteem movie music song ever. Like it's just horrible because like she's expressing her feelings for Jack and her concern for him as he's going out on this Christmas adventure. She reflects on her love for him, even though she knows that he's headed down a dangerous path. And like it just I wrote down that it highlights her vulnerability and her worries and her obsession, you know, with Jack's obsession about Christmas.
Hmm.
Um, but at the same time, she's like, I know we'll never be. I know I'm not the one. And it's like, girl, if you love him that much, you should. When you sent that bottle to his house with a butterfly in it, you should have just said, "Hey, I want to
Shoot
knock
your shot.
boots."
Shoot your shot.
Right. I
Yeah.
want to knock leaves. I don't know, whatever. But
Well, she hasn't really put in any effort, and she's still walking around stressy and depressy about it. So
yeah,
I,
she's
I
like the
get it.
Eeyore of the movie, to be quite honest.
I love Eeyore though.
Yeah, I don't love Sally. I mean, I don't listen.
I get it. I
I
get
can't I can't explain it. It's like I clearly by the fact I've been calling her Stalker Sally the whole time. Y'all know I don't really F with her. But
it.
um but that might just be my love for Jack. I don't know. I have no idea.
Honestly, I wasn't gonna like armchair psychoanalyze, but I was like, I don't know. I think it's because you love Jack. Like how
Could be.
I hate Christine in Phantom of the Opera because I want the Phantom to crawl to the sewer and pick me. Like, so I mean,
Could
we
be.
all have our people.
That's
that we-
true. Now, full disclosure, I showed y'all my one Jack mug. I have another Jack mug, but I also have a Sally mug. Okay. And
Aw.
it was gifted to me though by someone who knew I liked this movie, but didn't know I didn't like Sally. So it's okay. I still have it though. I didn't throw it away or anything. I appreciate a gift. I appreciate a gift no matter
Yeah,
what.
sure.
It's okay.
And if
Um,
any of you want to send us gifts, you can, and we will appreciate
our P.O. box is no, I'm just kidding.
that. Yes, we'll set that up.
So right. So there's her sad, depressing, please pick me, but you'll never pick me because I'm not worthy song. Um, so we go back to Jack, and Jack is having a time of his life. His eerie Christmas gifts are starting to terrify the human world. It's causing complete chaos. At the first house he visits, he leaves a severed head for the child. And like the parents are like, oh my God. And Jack continues to drop off creepy toys that chase, bite, and torment everyone. All while Halloween Town is watching on from their magic well. It's like, you know how the evil queen has like a magic like well that she looks in. I think is
Yeah,
it in Snow White or something, or it's in one of those movies.
one of those.
Yeah, but either way, they're all looking into this well, watching it, like, yay, go Jack.
Well, he also
Um,
thinks this is what you do. Like,
right.
he is not trying to terrorize
No,
people.
he's not.
He thinks this is like he's doing a great job.
He does. He thinks he's doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just like this is what shows like how naive to a certain extent that he is because he thinks
Sure.
like hey, even though this is a different type of Christmas, they'll appreciate our creepy take on Christmas because he doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess that's fair. But so they're all watching and they're excited. And Sally, hearing that Jack is going to need some help, um, because at this point, you know, the military is like, we don't really like you. And so they start shooting rockets into the air. This part made me
Man.
so sad because they're shooting the rockets in the air. And Jack's like, look, Zero, they're celebrating us. They're happy. And I'm like, oh no, Jack, no, that's not what it is, baby. Please.
No.
I feel so bad for him. But like Sally is hearing that Jack is going to need help. She sneaks off to go look for Santa. And she does find him at Oogie's lair and distracts him while trying to rescue Santa. But Oogie does catch on. He stops her and he traps her and Santa. And she distracts him by taking her leg off and like putting it through a little grate so that he could like tickle her feet, which is
I
weird.
don't think that was her intention.
Yeah,
I think
no.
she was doing like that old timey, like, woo, hey,
Yeah.
like trying to like kick
Kiss
her
my
little
leg.
foot up. And he was like, wow, that's a nice leg. Like he got really weird about it.
He did. He's like tickle, tickle, tickle.
Yeah.
Are you
It's
ticklish?
like, why is that the first place that you go with that? Like, why is
But I
that?
mean, I guess what else would you do with a leg? Like in my head, it's like, do you pick it up and just smell it or something?
I
Like
don't know, just look at it. Well, I think he was still assuming it was attached to a person.
he was until he
So
pulled through
that's
the
why I'm
crate.
saying that's why it's so weird that it's like, and also if you thought it was a person, you would not try to pull it through the grate. You would try another way to get, no, whatever. He's
Right.
he's he's an individual, you know.
Yeah.
He likes to do things his way, I guess. So
Indeed.
he's living
Indeed.
in a sewer, essentially. So, he's not like 100% all together.
Not at all.
No.
Um, but yeah, so he traps her and he traps Santa. So, like I said, the military was shooting rockets at Jack, and eventually they do shoot Jack out of the sky, and he crashes into a graveyard. And all of Halloween Town is distraught at seeing this, and the mayor is like, "I knew this was a bad idea, sir."
Oh my gosh, wait. The mayor, I just want to address one thing. So the mayor, if you haven't seen this, I'm assuming you've seen it. He has two faces, right? And they switch. And one is pretty regular, and one is like super anxious, like so dramatically anxious. Like I feel like I can get
It's
sometimes.
literally if you see the masks for art and it's like one or
Comedy
like
and
comedy and stuff.
tragedy,
Yeah, it's
comedy and
exactly
tragedy.
that.
But it's so like he gets so even before when he went like when going back a ways when he went to Jack's house to
Hmm.
visit him, and he's like, I can't do this by myself, and he like falls down all the stairs.
I'm only an elected official. I can't make decisions on my
Yeah.
own.
And he goes from 0 to 60 like that. He's very entertaining. I like that.
There's another scene
Like
too
that.
where he tells, like, I forget what person was up talking to Jack at the time, and Jack was like, perfect. Oh, it might have been Sally, or it might have been the kids, either way. But the mayor said, we're going to have a horrible Christmas. And Jack is like, no, we're going to have a jolly Christmas. And he's like, we're going to have a jolly Christmas. Like his face turned from being happy because he's saying horrible to sad, or he said
It's
terrible. It's going to be a
yeah.
terrible Christmas. So yeah, he definitely is a two-faced
He cracks me up.
guy.
He cracks
Yeah.
me up.
Yeah, because like none of his faces are mean. It's just happy or
No.
stressed.
Why but like the highest degree of stress, which is why it's so entertaining.
It's almost like he's bipolar, like literally bipolar, because it's
I
like one extreme to the other.
I think that very well could have been the inspiration kind of behind
Maybe.
that, but they made it like comical.
Yeah.
So at least, so that that's good. But
Yeah.
it was funny that it's like, sometimes I'm sure many of us have experienced this. If we are maxed the F out and just that one more thing happens and you're like, ah.
I
Like
know.
he's kind of at that level all the time, which
Yeah.
is why it's entertaining because it's like it's still relatable to an extent, but in a way that's comical. So
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
He's cool. I don't dislike him. He's not
He's
Sally.
no, I was gonna say he's no Sally.
Right.
He's no
Um,
Sally.
so the mayor he says he knew it all along, and you can see both Halloween Town and Christmas Town are now reporting terrible news in their own way. Christmas Town is saying Christmas is canceled because the real Santa's still
No.
missing, while in Halloween Town they're saying Jack has been blown out the sky, he's dead, and everything is over. So
Everything is over. Yeah,
right.
very very dramatic.
So we then go back to Jack, who is not dead or anything. He's already dead. So he's been blown out of the sky. He's wearing some rags at this point, and he starts reflecting on his failure, and he sings the song Poor Jack. And he's basically expressing his regret and frustration over how his attempt to take over Christmas has gone terribly wrong. And he feels very defeated and realizes that he's lost sight of who he truly is. While also reflecting on how his actions have caused chaos, though he had really good intentions. And the song marks his emotional turning point in this film because the experience revived Jack's love for Halloween as he rips off his shredded Sandy Claus outfit, declaring himself once again the Pumpkin King. He runs off to Halloween Town to be Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King. So,
Damn right.
right? So now we are at Act 5, the resolution. So Jack returns to Halloween Town, and he's like, because his whole thing is we got to get Santa back to Christmas Town. Like, I can't keep him. And so he goes back to Halloween Town, and he hears Sally screaming for help because at this point, Oogie has them tied up to something about to put them in some type of
It
fiery
was like
contraption.
lava
Yeah.
almost. Like it, yeah. I don't
They
know
were
what I don't know where he got lava from, but he had it.
yeah, he
So,
did. And
so
so um Jack basically confronts Oogie during a game of what like I call Russian roulette because they're on a roulette table that's going around and there's knives and there's like guns that come up and it's a lot going on.
I
It's
called it the way I wrote it, I said a weird exchange. And then I said surrounded by cards and swords on the roulette wheel.
yeah.
But yeah, that was how my eloquent way of saying it is weird exchange.
It's definitely different. It was definitely a little different.
Sure.
So because he saved Santa and Sally, like I said, they were tied up on some contraption that was getting ready to slide into some lava, but he saves them. They start fist fighting with the Russian roulette and everything. And but Oogie does meet his end because he's trying to get away, and Jack unravels him by pulling a thread, revealing that he is just a mass of bugs. And some of those bugs fall into the lava, and he's like, "Oh no!" And he basically is done. Um,
That part made me laugh too because he was saying, my bugs, my bugs. I'm like, yeah, your bugs.
your bugs are gone, sir.
Just like my
But
ex. Anyway.
oh, well, Santa berates Jack before leaving to fix Christmas because he's like, "You should have stayed here, stupid." He basically said that, but he didn't really say it. But, um, but he goes back to fix Christmas, doing his old Kris Kringle thing. The whole way he gets down those damn chimneys because everybody wonders how a fat man gets down chimneys. He wiggles his nose and he's able to do whatever he wants to do.
Nose
So,
magic.
yeah, it's like Bewitched. If you're old
Sure.
enough to remember that show, okay. If you're not old enough, don't worry about it. That means you're too
No.
young. Um,
Yeah.
but Jack almost tells Sally something because they start having a little moment. But once it's discovered that he's alive, the town immediately starts celebrating him. So at this point, Santa does fix Christmas, and as he's fixing Christmas, he brings snow to Halloween Town as a gift, which
Uh,
delights the residents of Halloween Town to a certain extent. Um, Now I forgot to tell you earlier on because I didn't write it in my notes, but full disclosure, I was watching this movie before we started recording because I wanted to. And um earlier on, because remember, Dr. Finkelstein has created Sally, and this is just a theory. It's not said specifically in this movie, but Sally was made to be a partner to Dr. Finkelstein, not
bleh.
just her maid
Yeah.
or helper, but literally meant to be a life partner. So midway through, after it's after one of Jack's songs, uh Dr. Finkelstein is in his tower. Igor, who looks like Igor. So if you can imagine Igor, Igor comes in to give him some plans for the reindeer. And we could see Dr. Finkelstein is creating a new version to replace Sally. And
hmm
he's going through a rotating circle of heads that he could put on a body. So at this point, coming back to the present, Jack sees that Dr. Finkelstein has a new lady. So he's created himself a brand new lady who looks just like him. They both look crazy. She's tall and is able to push him around. And, he clearly, you could see that they're like a couple. And Jack makes this face like, oh, shoot, Sally's single. Because I guess all this time, he just assumed that she must have been with Dr. Finkelstein. Because he literally makes like the face seeing
Yeah,
them.
he's like, oh,
Yeah, he's like,
yeah.
oh shoot. And he immediately goes to Sally, who has she's sneaking away again because she's so depressed that she ain't ever gonna be Jack's girlfriend. She ain't shit, she ain't gonna be shit, she ain't never been shit. That's how she feels. So
Oh, Sally.
right.
Oh, yeah.
So he follows her. They both go to Spiral Hill and they kind of confess their love for each other. And at this point, there's the last song, which is the finale or reprise. And it basically is a whole lot of it's like themes of the songs that played throughout the movie. And Jack and Sally are kind of embracing or they kiss in the moonlight. So that's basically the scene. If, like Megan said earlier, if you've seen the actual poster for this movie, Jack and Sally are on Spiral Hill, and this is basically what that comes from.
Mhm.
And Finn, that is the end of this movie.
That's it.
So
It's over.
that is all. But you know, I do have fun facts for you guys,
Oh,
per usual.
I love a fun fact.
So first one. It took years to make this movie, like a long time, because the stop motion was relatively new back then. And so it involved moving the puppets frame by frame. It took
Oh,
3 years to complete it.
imagine that's your job. I'm just saying,
Right.
like, it's so tedious. I would go nuts.
The animators produced a minute of footage per week. That's it.
No. Oh my God. Brutal. I
Yeah.
hope they paid them
And
nicely.
I'm assuming so. And just interestingly enough, Jack Skellington had 400 different heads to show his various expressions. So imagine like them having to change those heads so much. That's why,
Oh
listen,
my
the mayor
God.
had two heads and two expressions. His face never changed otherwise. They were like, make it easy. Make it easy. Okay. Because Jack had
Wow.
400. So yeah.
That's a
So,
lot.
so this movie was released in 1993. It had a budget of approximately 18 million. It initially made 76 million at the box office. It was not a popular movie. People didn't really take to it. However, its success grew over time as it gained a cult following, and it's a beloved holiday classic at this point. It's almost like we said before that for Halloween, Hocus Pocus is number one.
Hmm.
For Christmas, Home Alone is number one. But The Nightmare Before Christmas is like right up there, like two or three. It's very close in the running for most beloved Christmas movie. Depending upon
Huh.
what lists you look at, because obviously most lists are going to go different depending
Of
upon who you're
course, of
talking
course.
to.
That's just so interesting though, because this movie came out in 93, you said?
Yeah.
93. So I don't think I saw this in the theater, but we definitely had it on VHS, and my friends and I were nuts about this movie. Like the chokehold this movie had on us. There was a specific memory I have where, like, because I needed to be the main character. So like we'd like reenact it, and I was pretending to be Sally behind like a chair, like the chair was a tombstone because I'm a psycho. Um, but it surprises me that like you're saying it wasn't super popular because I
Hmm.
remember for the time having it and replaying that tape so much, but not just myself, like all my friends. So I'm like, huh, that's interesting. I would have
Yeah.
had no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it like I said, it made 76 million, but like it wasn't well received by a lot of people. Like, yeah, people went to go see it because of what it was, but people were kind of turned off by the stop motion and it's just kind of weird, and
Well,
people
it's
didn't
Tim
know,
Burton for you. Yeah.
yeah, so people didn't really know how to take it. But like I said, after a while, it gained a lot of cult following.
Sure.
So
Okay.
yeah. So I said earlier that Tim Burton had a poem that this is based off of. It was written in 1982 while he was working as a Disney animator. And the poem he wrote was inspired by The Grinch and A Visit from St. Nicholas. So he kind of combined the two and made a poem, and then this was born from that. So
I'm
that's
just
interesting.
picturing Tim Burton. I'm picturing a room full of Walt Disney animators drawing their little whatever shit, and then you get to Tim Burton and everything's like dark and like pointy and jagged, and they're like, Tim, we have to talk to you, and they have like weekly meetings with him about how his animation's like weird and fucked up. Like, I can't imagine. I'm sure he has the talent to do it, but it's like he just is such an individual. It's kind of
Yeah.
hard to picture him trying to squeeze himself into a box for others. Like he just doesn't seem like the type kind of to me. But I mean, I certainly don't know him. But
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely different. You could tell by the way he looks and what he puts out. He's
yeah.
definitely different. But he does have some Disney fruits. I mean, if you look in this movie, there is a Mickey Mouse cameo in this movie. They're putting I think when they're doing the gifts, like when they're making the gifts, they put like a Mickey Mouse head or something in one of the gifts. I can't remember
Mm.
exactly where, but yeah, like he still gives respect to his Disney roots. So
Oh
he
yeah.
fit in that way because he really loved Mickey Mouse and he loved
I
Disney,
love that.
but he's definitely his own creepy ass person. He definitely marches to the beat of his own drum for sure.
I love
Especially
that.
since I think him and Helena Bonham Carter weren't they dating at one
They were
point?
married.
Okay, yeah, they were
They were
married. So
married. Yeah.
so and you see she's a little off too.
I know.
So
I love her
I
so much.
know
I
they're
love
so good.
I love people like that. I love people who just kind of like don't care and 100% embrace who they are and just like they don't care if it's weird. Like Helena Bonham Carter wearing like 100 mismatched different clothing articles with a bird's nest of hair. And she's like,
Right.
I'm going to the gas station. I don't give a F what you
Right.
think about it. Like, I love that.
Which is pretty cool.
Love it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, I did talk about Mickey's, hidden Mickeys. If you look
Yeah.
closely, you'll spot hidden Mickey shapes. But Danny Elfman, besides composing the score, like we
Mhm.
know, he provided Jack's singing voice and he voiced Beryl. But he said that Jack's story mirrored his own feelings at that time. So
Oh.
it made this whole portrayal of Jack Skellington very, very personal for him. Because he was feeling like a little unfulfilled and like a
And you
little,
wanted to steal Christmas, like the
yeah,
Grinch.
pretty
So
much. So
I think that makes projects so much better, right? Is when you can really kind of like tap into that character because you feel it so deeply
right, yeah.
yourself. So I think that makes it so much more powerful. I love that.
Yeah, it really showed in how he was singing at times too.
Oh
Like it
yeah.
really did come out. Um, and so my last one, Jack's cameos in other movies. So you can look for him in Tim Burton's Beetlejuice. He is a shrunken head. He's in James and the Giant Peach as a skeleton pirate. He is in The Princess and the Frog as a growing glowing green skull. He is also in The Corpse Bride as a background skeleton, and he's
Background
in
skeleton.
background skeleton, and he's in
Ah,
Alice in Wonderland as a silhouette. And there are a few other movies that are newer that he's also in. Like there's, I forget what movie it is, but I did see it where you actually see what happened to Jack, because there's a skeleton that looks like Jack's skeleton that's been all broken apart and is actually dead.
oh,
And so, but it's shown in passing. So yeah, there's other movies like that, but those are the main ones that are
wow.
confirmed that he's actually been in.
That's
So
very interesting. Wow.
yeah. So how do you feel about The Nightmare Before Christmas?
How do I feel about it? Oh my God. Um, I like it a lot. I mean, it's one that's been with me. Like I said, I used to push people out of the way to be the star when we would reenact it. Like literally, they'd be like, I know, and I'm like, a place where, and I would just sort of just take it over. Um, I think it's a classic. I think there's, especially for the time, there's absolutely nothing else like it. And it's iconic in that way. And characters that are still, I don't want to say being recycled, but like I think I mentioned before, this last Halloween, my nephew who's four, he just turned 4? He turned 3?
He's
Shit.
three. He just turned
Shit.
three.
Thank you.
You're
I'm like,
welcome.
how old is he? Um, he just became aware of Jack Skellington this year in October. So he actually met a costumed Jack Skellington and like loved him. And I'm like, I love that it's just a thing that goes on and like I know on Freeform they play it like a million times in October and um I don't know, it's a classic. Like you can't I don't know. I don't know. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. I will say this might be unpopular. It's not my favorite movie. Like I watched it so much as a kid, so much obsessively that I like wore it out that as an adult I have an appreciation for it from a little bit further of a distance. But I appreciate and respect it 100%. Do you know what I mean? And it's not
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt for me to rewatch. Like I enjoyed rewatching it. When I just rewatched it for this, it was the first time in years I had seen it as a whole. Um, and I was like, yeah, this is good, you know. So I have love for it definitely. But what about you?
So I saw this movie as an adult,
Oh,
considering. But I I love skeletons. I love skulls. It's one of my favorite things. If I it honestly, I would get a tattoo of a skull. I have a sun tattoo, but I would get a moon and I would get a skull. And I probably would get Jack. I
I
don't
was
know.
gonna say, would you get a whole Jack?
That would be kind of cool to get a whole Jack, like his whole body and
Yeah,
everything. I would like that. But um honestly, I do like this movie. I think that like we talked a while back about movies that are kids movies but not clean. I think it was Hocus Pocus where we talked about that, where there were
sure.
scenes that were just really inappropriate. But as I was watching this movie, there was one line that I thought was dirty, and as I listened to it again, I was like, "No, it's not dirty." Like they said, Jack is knocking down walls. Now, that could sound kind of sexual, but it wasn't in a sexual way. It just like basically, they were saying like, oh, he's knocking down walls, like he's basically breaking
Mm,
barriers. So I mean, it's like, okay, cool. And I appreciate a movie where even the love between Jack and Sally, like they kept calling each other friend. They never said anything else in that. He's like, oh, my great friend, and she's like my longtime friend. Like they just call themselves friends. So I'm like, I love that because you could interpret it as they had fallen in love because you never see that,
Right.
or you could say that they just realized that they were really good friends and they really cared for each other, even though she was singing about it'd never be meant to be and all that crap.
In a cemetery. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
As she stalks him. Um, but honestly, this is the first time I've seen this in a long time as well. I listen to the soundtrack every year. This is Halloween was my ringtone for a very long time. Um, I will listen to that song any time of year. It doesn't matter when it is. Whenever I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
listening to it, I will listen to it. So, so I mean, it's always in rotation. So I do really like this movie. I can't say anything necessarily negative about the movie
Yeah.
myself because it's a movie that is just kind of fun. You take it for face value. I watched this on Amazon per usual, and it had goofs, but it had stupid goofs. Like it was like at this point the stop motion changes because Jack is standing in this place, and when you turn around, something's missing. It's like, okay, I listen, I don't even care about that because I'm not catching none of these goofs that you're talking about. Like I'm not seeing it
No.
myself. It's almost like the same thing with 13 Ghosts when they were talking about, oh, there was these goofs, and it's like they're minimal. Like somebody shook a wall. Okay.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
especially in this case with, I mean, I guess as a kid you wouldn't even notice, but as an adult, thinking about how intense stop motion is and how difficult it is, that if they effed
yeah.
up a whole couple scenes because it was just really hard and they didn't want to reshoot it, I'd be like, I get it.
If you're doing a
That's fine.
minute a week
Oh
and
my
it took you
God.
3 years to do it,
That's brutal.
that's horrible.
That's really
You know what I'm
horrible.
saying? There's 52 weeks in a year. So you're getting 52 minutes of this movie done in a year. And it
Oh
was an
my God.
hour and 19 minutes. So
That's
it took
so
them two
crazy.
years to get it done. And then like a whole year to do like post production, like to go back.
And it's
So,
a
I mean,
musical too, so to record, like you're recording all of the music separate and then
yep.
having to, it's a lot. That's a lot of work that went into this.
And when you're doing the like matchup, I think it's called ADR. But when you're doing the matchup between the voices and the stop motion to make sure that the sound looks right, that's
Oh
very hard,
God.
especially since this isn't mocap, okay? Like mocap, first of all, doing the syncing up of voices with humans is hard
Yeah.
enough because they have to sync up the sound to the voice and to the lips. That's why I've seen a movie where the whole movie was off and to the point where they like refunded people their money and was like, sorry, like we have to
Oh
give you money
man.
because it was off that much. It was like the person was like, so what are we doing tomorrow? Like
Oh no.
it was bad.
That's not good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it takes a lot of times with stop motion back then, like it takes a lot to make sure like the hand motions are on time and the singing is on time and everything.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I don't care about those stupid ass goofs. Like
No, no.
I didn't write any of them down like at all because it didn't matter. Um
I get
yeah,
it.
so
I get it.
I honestly I don't have anything else. How many bloody X's would you give this?
How many? Little me want to give it 11. Little me. Um, it's just that older me has grown a little weary of it just from wearing out the videotape, just like I wore out the Jurassic Park videotape that got stuck in the VCR at my grandma's house anyway. I want to give it, I'll give it a 9. Because, like, just because of my opinion of it over time doesn't make it any less great or iconic or insane. Like, this is a stop motion film that is so smoothly executed, like, and so many things had to go right. You know what I mean? For
Yeah,
this to turn out how it turned out. So, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 9. Yeah, that's my score. It's your turn now. What are you gonna give it?
it's solid. 10. Giving it a 10. I
And
couldn't
she got the
like
merch to represent.
right? Like honestly, I thought about it a lot because I'm like, I know that I'm Jurassic Park gets a 10. Okay.
Of course.
And it gets a 10.
Of course.
And I gave something else a 10. I can't remember what it was recently. What did we watch that I gave a 10? I don't
What did we
remember.
watch that you gave us 10?
I don't remember. I'm so mad. I'm
It
trying to
was
think back.
it was The Conjuring. The
No, it
devil made
wasn't.
me do it. I know, I know, I know. I couldn't even say it with a straight face.
Oh my
Um,
God.
I know
Hold on.
yours was Saw. It had to have been Saw.
Oh, it was Saw. It
It
was Saw.
had to have been Saw.
It was Saw. I was getting ready to pull up our page, girl.
Because we did, because we both in October both covered movies that were tens for us. So The
Yes.
Crow is a 10 for me,
And
and Saw
Saw.
was a 10 for you. I think I gave Saw a 9 as well. Pretty
It might have
sure.
been. But
Or a
yeah, but
10. I
so
might have given it a 10 too, but
no,
yeah.
you didn't give Saw a 10.
So, but it was definitely a 9. It was very
It was
high.
high.
It was
Yeah.
very high.
Um,
Um,
but yeah, no.
Jinx.
but but yeah, so I'm giving it 10. I thought about it a lot because I'm like, I know I give Jurassic Park, I give Saw a 10,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, does this rank up there with those? And I had to think about it because I don't have any Jurassic Park merchandise. I don't have any Saw merchandise, but
Not yet.
right,
Just
but I
wait till
have
we open our PO box.
right.
Just wait.
But I have several Jack Skellington things. I love skulls. And honestly, I listen to this music all the time. Now, I will say I listen to John Williams' Jurassic Park, like the main theme, a lot too. Okay. I will run that into the ground. Yes.
Yeah.
It is epic. And even like, the newer version is not done by John Williams, but they definitely take all the notes from it. But it's just not as good when you get into Jurassic World and all that stuff. Um,
It's
but
the
yeah.
OG. It's got to be the OG.
Right.
Yeah.
It's OGs for me. So when I thought about all that, I'm like, I love The Nightmare Before Christmas just as much as those movies. It needs to get a 10. And I don't have any rational reason as to why, besides the fact that I just really like it. And of
That
course,
you love it. Yeah.
our opinions are subjective, and I understand if, other people are like, oh, it's stupid because of this, that, and the other. That's absolutely fine. You can have your
You can leave your own
opinions.
rating. You can
Yeah,
leave your
please.
rating.
Please
Yeah.
do, and leave
Leave your rating.
why. Leave why, because I'd love to know. Because honestly, like I said, it's not that this movie is without flaws. It's just that I don't see them. I don't see them.
Or they don't matter enough for you
Right.
to register. Similar to when we talked about Crow and you were like, I don't like this about it, I don't like this about
Right.
it. And I was like, I have unconditional love for this movie that I can overlook all of those things and that there was very little character development for very many people. I just love it. So that's
True.
at the end of the day, um, just like when you love anything, is that it kind of whatever little flaws just are superseded by your love for it. And there's
That's true.
nothing wrong with that, everybody. There's nothing wrong with
Thanks.
that. You
I'm
love what you
still
love.
I'm still laughing on the inside that you said the devil made me do it. That is that
You
is
know, your
like
favorite movie, The Conjuring, the devil made me do it.
we're gonna say that in every episode at this point. You guys are gonna be so sick of that movie. You're gonna be like, oh my God, I feel like I've seen that movie even though I never have. Because
Yeah,
it is our baseline.
there is a new Conjuring coming out next year.
There is, and it's
I
the
hope
last
it's
one.
I hope it's not as bad as that one.
Yeah, but you know what? I think
Ugh.
it's going back to James Wan, so it can't be. Because remember, the first two were done by James Wan.
Ugh.
And obviously, if you guys follow the Conjuring universe, there are a lot of other little like branches of it, but the
Yeah.
main Conjuring only has three installments with one coming up. And so the third installment of I'm about to say if the devil made me do it. The third installment of the Conjuring
It just keeps going and
is
going.
the third installment is directed by a different person, and so it doesn't feel like James Wan at all. It's not a James Wan movie. And so the
Yeah.
fourth one, I do believe James Wan is coming back to it, so it should give us the same vibes as the first and second Conjuring again.
Yeah.
So we can just like rinse our eyes with the third one, which again, listen, that movie's not bad. It's just not a Conjuring movie. Okay, it's
It's
just not.
just, no, it's just weird. And there's so many little weird things. Like, I still, whenever anyone brings that up, all I can think of, like, is the man in the basement, how he got in there in the dark. He's just sitting in the middle of the room with no
I
sound. It's
don't know.
just,
How did it get there so fast?
it's one of those things that just always sticks out to me. It was a weird
I,
movie. It was weird. It was weird.
yeah,
It was
it
weird.
is weird, but you know what? Like, not for nothing again. It's a decently made movie. I'll
Sure.
give you that. I don't remember what I rated it, but it was a terror to actually like review and a
Yeah.
terror to watch, and I would never watch that movie again.
No, and
Mm,
that's the great news. We did it and we don't have to watch it
right.
again. We will
Yeah,
watch the new movie.
we
I will sit
certainly
there
will.
in judgment in the movie theater. Yeah, side note, Nosferatu coming out Christmas.
I heard somebody that I watch on YouTube, she was just saying she went to like a premiere of it.
I want to go
Um,
to a premiere.
right? So, and I was like, oh my God, is it going to have like actual talking? Because not for nothing, somebody did recommend for us to watch the silent
Yes.
movie Nosferatu, and we both said like, we don't know if we can do that one like in a whole episode, but maybe if we do like a mini episode of little movies that we can't like do in a whole episode, perhaps.
Yeah.
Not to yuck anybody's yum. It's just hard to review a silent
Well, how
movie
do
to a
you,
certain
you're
extent,
like, and then he walked through the doorway and he was like, ah, like he made a face.
right?
Like, what do you say? Yeah,
And
right.
you know,
Actually, interesting little fun fact. So I just finished Elvira's book, which was an awesome, interesting read, and I'm pretty sure this is where I got this information from, because otherwise I don't know where I got it from. That oh God, I hope it's from here. I really don't remember. So Nosferatu was actually kind of a stolen idea from Bram Stoker's Dracula. And Bram Stoker's wife actually for a long time kind of pursued it and was trying to like dissuade people's interest in it because she felt like it was too direct a bite out of Dracula. And I mean we know today and now like what it's very they're very different, but I just think that like the idea of like the vampire and the whole thing, because those are kind of the origin of our modern day vampire stories come
right.
from that book. And like obviously the lore before it, but it's like that was kind of the first major um
Just so I'm clear, so
Amazon.
you're saying that Bram Stoker's people are thinking that Nosferatu came from that?
That was
Or
what I heard.
huh? That's because I swore Nosferatu came out well before that.
So
But I
not
mean,
the movie, the book. So remember it was the
oh, okay,
book.
okay, okay. So you're talking about the books, okay?
The book, I'm trying to check the date on that.
Which if
Oh,
that's if that
I'm seeing an old ass cover.
that's
Yeah,
interesting.
it came out in 1897 is when the book came out. So,
This is the Bram Stoker's book.
correct.
Okay,
Bram Stoker Dracula.
I never think it's that old. I have not ever considered that it was that old.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of our classic horror books have actually come from the olden days. Like I want to tell you a
Yeah.
date so I don't make like a whole ass of myself, but where is it? Mary Shelley, Frankenstein. She wrote in
Yes.
1818, so another 1800s. Um, I think Jekyll and Hyde came out somewhere in there. That's a book I've read before. Robert Louis Stevenson. So that name alone, I could tell you is old as
Yeah,
fuck. 1886. So 1800s were a big time for horror books.
that's true.
Um,
Yeah.
I will say the modern day story of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde is way more fascinating to me than the original book. The original book, when I read it, I was excited to read it. I was like, oh, like it was kind of boring, right? I like
Yeah.
the more whatever, but yes.
I mean,
So
that's
yeah.
just like we take Bram Stoker's, and to me, because I don't, unfortunately, please don't hate me. I don't even think about Nosferatu as being
Mm.
anything at all. Like I never even think about it. However, my for me, the modern day vampire was created by Bram Stoker's Dracula and Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire. So for me, it was those two together. And I'm talking about the movies, not the books, because there are books for both of them. Obviously, we have the one from 1897 or something, and then whenever Anne Rice did Interview with the Vampire. Um, but yeah, so I never even really think about that, but it's interesting. That's very
Well, it's
interesting.
interesting also because Anne Rice didn't come out with that book until the 70s. So there was a
Mm.
lot of vampire content, before that. But Nosferatu, I don't even think Nosferatu was it a book?
I
Because
don't think so.
the movie came out in 1922, the silent film.
Yeah.
Um, called Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror. And
Um,
it was an hour and 21 minutes of silent film. That's a long time to have a silent film, you guys.
that is very true.
We can't watch an hour and 21 minutes of silent film for this.
That is
That,
true.
that would be so much.
That would be
Um,
too much.
so it says, wait. It
There
says
were some books.
1922. It says it released 1929, so maybe it made a really long time to make. I don't know. But yeah, so apparently they tried to bite that off of well, allegedly, because also what I learned in Elvira's book, everyone, is that I'm not going to say her real name right, so I'm just going to say Vampira. Vampira had beef with Elvira because Vampira felt like she was trying to bite her ish,
Which I
even
could
though,
see.
but she was so much older at the time that she couldn't play her character anymore. But the personalities of those two characters are so distinctively different. Elvira is like a schlocky bimbo, and that's what she wants. Whereas Vampira was much more kind of like she was kind of aloof, and
Yeah,
and more serious, and it wasn't, definitely no bimbo like slutty jokes like Elvira had, which is makes Elvira
right.
amazing and hilarious. But yeah, no, they're very different, and they actually found because there were lots of lawsuits that it was not any kind of character infringement. Like they're clearly different, and everyone
Yeah, you
knows
can
that.
definitely tell.
So she didn't like that outcome. But yeah, that's a good book. So this is my little my little recommendation corner, I guess. Um, my recommendations for you today are Elvira's book that I just read that I can't think of the title, but it's her book, so go ahead and find that. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, Dracula by Bram Stoker, and Jekyll and Hyde. If you want, you could leave it out. Those are all written in the 1800s. You're welcome. There you go. It's Megan's recommendation corner for you.
Is the
Um,
Elvira book called Yours Cruelly?
yes, oh my God. I read it and I also listened to it on Spotify, who's also our home-based sponsor-ish thing. So thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, Spotify, for also hosting Elvira's book so I could listen to it. Which she read herself. Really
which
made
is
it feel
nice.
personal. Yes. But yeah. So that's that's my 2 cents. But I'm excited, long story short, to see this movie, which will not be silent. Fingers crossed.
Nosferatu. Yeah, fingers crossed. I'm mildly interested. Because I didn't even know it was coming out until the girl I was looking at said, "Oh, I'm going to a Nosferatu premiere party," and I was like, "What?"
They're like, what do you mean? And Johnny Depp's daughter is in it.
Oh, okay.
I know her name too. I can't think of it right
Yeah, I
now.
can't think of it either. I think it's like rose something. It's
But it
some type of
looks,
flower.
I saw the trailer. It looks solid. So we're gonna see.
Hmm.
We're gonna see. It comes out on Christmas Day, so I'll probably not see it then. But you know,
Yeah. I
that's.
don't do those days.
I love that they're releasing a vampire movie on Christmas Day, though. Like, I love, I don't know, kind of the cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive for who? I mean, it depends on what you believe in.
Oh no, I
Because
agree. But
clearly, if you think Jesus's day is the 25th, then you're going to be really upset that there's a blood-sucking vampire movie coming out on his birthday.
well, definitely in the Bible Belt, that's not going to work out down the
Dude.
Bible Belt. But so I mean, not certainly not for me, but for many people who are like Christmas, jolly presents, happy music, and then there's me who's like, I want to go see the bloody vampire movie on Christmas instead. Like, so, I don't know. Also, I don't really like Christmas music. It kind of irritates me. Is that weird? I don't know.
Yes.
Sorry, everyone. I'm weird. My mom says that too. She says I'm like the Grinch.
I have to be honest with you. Like, I don't think it's weird, but like, I have to be in a very particular mood to listen to it. And I don't listen necessarily to traditional Christmas songs. I like to listen to songs that are not quite like the same.
Like
And
Making Christmas from Nightmare Before Christmas.
like, yeah, or actually, like, this is Halloween. I'll definitely listen to
I
that.
almost said Nightmare on Elm Street. That's why I had to pause. I was like, it froze in my head.
But
No,
yeah,
but I
no.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm sorry to say I do not like that Mariah Carey song. I absolutely detest it.
Well,
And it's just like whenever Halloween ends and people start playing it like, oh, Christmas is coming, I'm like, nah, give us Thanksgiving first before y'all start that crap.
I'm on the same page
Please.
with you there. That song has just been so overplayed. It was really big when I was younger, and I used to love it as a kid when it was kind of like just regularly sprinkled into the radio. but now it's constant, nonstop. I think that's what it is for me is the repetition because
Yes,
even when other people sing it, it's the same songs.
it
And I
is.
feel bad because my mom, I went to see Wicked, everyone. I hope that if you saw it, you enjoyed it as well. Witches, I know it's not scary per se, but spooky ladies in it, you know. And she picked me up to go, just a little fun, like go with your mom to the movies. And she was blasting Christmas music, and I was like, it was putting me on edge. And I think it was like Blue Christmas, like one of the old like 1940s
Yeah.
versions. I was like, this is making me irate. And she was like, "Well, it's making me happy." And I was like, "I'm very sorry. I know there's something wrong with me, but it just makes me feel like I don't like that kind of that amount of repetition, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
with that being said, I do enjoy Last Christmas by Wham.
That's a good one though. Last
I
Christmas,
know, I
I
like that one.
gave you my heart.
It's a good
The
one.
very next day, you gave it away.
Yeah.
This year. Yeah, that's a good one. It's so
Did you
nice and
realize that you just
smooth.
whammed people? You wham again them?
It's
You
almost
snuck
like
it in.
Rickrolling people.
You snuck it in. So that's the thing. People go. I didn't think about it till you just finished that.
That's funny.
Every year, some people go by like how long they can go without hearing that song. You just snuck it right in. So if you avoided it till
Sorry.
now, no, don't be sorry. Embrace it. That's what George Michael would have wanted. May he rest in peace.
It's so funny because every time I get Rickrolled, I'm cool with it. I'm like,
Oh my God, I love
I
a
love that
Rickroll.
song. Yeah, I'm like, so it doesn't matter to me. I can listen to it anytime. So
So just really quick. So not this last time, but 2 times ago when I saw New Kids on the Block, they were traveling with Rick Astley as well, who sang that song. And then at the end, it was a few different groups. It was New Kids on the Block and Rick Astley and Salt and Peppa and En Vogue also. So bunch of awesome people in the same show. At the end, they all did number together, and then they all kind of left the stage, and then they Rickrolled us.
they
Yes,
just
they did.
Rickrolled
And
everybody.
then
That's dope.
everyone came out. They were like just running around the stage having fun while they were Rickrolling us. But yeah, I love a Rickroll.
That is so
I
funny.
love a
Yeah.
Rickroll. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So
his voice is really good. Like he's an incredible singer.
yeah.
Um,
Considering he only had like one and a half songs. So
he needed more hits, or he needed someone to write the hits for him. Like perhaps the actual writing of the songs was not his forte, but just his voice was like, because he did sing other
yeah.
songs during the show, and everyone was like, "What is
Yeah,
like I've
like
never heard this before," and it wasn't anything that was like that really was grabbing anyone. Like a lot of people were going to the bathroom. They're like, I don't know this song. I'm just gonna, because
which
it
is
wasn't,
always sad.
yeah, it wasn't that or like Together Forever, Forever Together.
That's why I said the half song. So
I feel like there was a third. Maybe the third was the half one. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, yes, that was our wham for you and our rickroll for you.
yes.
But yeah, I think I'm out of random BS to say if you unless you have unless you have anything you want to add.
No, nothing else to say, but this is the first Christmas episode. My tree has gone out because it's on the timer. So, there's the festiveness for this. And we do have one more Christmas episode for you because these are the Christmas episodes, just like what we did with the October episodes. It's just not as many back to back.
Spooky
But
season is special. We
yes,
have to be special for spooky season.
but you
Um,
will be getting these episodes back to back, like one week after another, for Christmas. Cause hey, hurrah. Um,
Hey
and there you go.
Santa. Wait, you just reminded me of another song I like. Hey Santa by Wilson Phillips. Okay.
Hey Santa, that one.
Thank
Hey
you. Yes.
Santa, Santa.
Santa. Yep. Carney Wilson.
Yeah.
Love her. Wilson Phillips. Yeah. But so we're gonna have another surprise for you soon.
Yep.
And yeah.
When you're if you're watching this, then tune in next week and you'll be able to see it. So yeah, it's coming right after
Surprise.
this. But whatever holiday you celebrate or don't celebrate, hopefully you're enjoying the season. And I do want to say just as a little PSA, because I know it could be a difficult time for people because
Yeah,
one, people get seasonal depression, and two, a lot of times this is a period of like people being with families, and it can be tough if you're missing someone for whatever
sure.
reason. So just remember, if when all the sad, not sad, but all the stupid Christmas songs are playing and you see all these lights and stuff and it's pissing you off, just remember it's okay to not be festive. It's okay to not feel festive, but um, know that you're not the only person that feels that way. And I hope that you have whatever type of season you need to have. Maybe not the season you
Yes.
want, but the season that you need. And I hope you have, hope that you feel like you're not alone because you're not. That's all.
No, you're not alone and give yourself some grace to
Yes,
go through whatever you need to go through. And just, I don't want to kind of, be super redundant with what you said, but it's important, um, that you take time for yourself, you take care of yourself. And if your family's stressing you out, hang out with your chosen family. And if you don't have a chosen family, go on the internet.
yeah.
Plenty of people that feel just like you.
Listen,
Um,
there are websites that, that you can commiserate with people
absolutely.
all the time. So
Absolutely. We support you and we hope you have the best season that you can. Really.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
All right.
All right then. Well, I
Well,
guess we're gonna wrap it up. Yep.
yeah, we'll shut it on down. So thank you for joining us for another whimsical yet spooky episode of the Horror Ghouls podcast. We hope you had a fantastic time diving into the magical world of The Nightmare Before Christmas, where Halloween and Christmas collide in the most unexpected and eerie ways. And if Jack's sleigh ride or Stalker Sally's secret love still has you mesmerized, or if you have any thoughts, questions, or theories, please don't be shy. Reach out to us on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram at The Horror Ghouls. And of course, subscribe for more enchanting discussions and delightful oddities. So, until we meet again, stay spooky, keep the holiday spirit alive, and remember, if on Christmas Eve you see a 9 foot tall skeleton dressed in a Santa suit in your home, don't open the gift.
Don't do it.
No.
Bad idea. All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.